Hello and welcome back to the port. This is a first look at the Russian cruisers which have dropped in today's patch slash update. I'm the Galliford Major and I'm here with Eggy Harris.
Hello. So we're going to be taking a look firstly at the Tier 7 premium cruiser from the Russian line. This is the KUTUZOV. Pardon our pronunciations from this video. I think we're going to have a bit of a struggle because obviously they're not particularly simple.
Yeah,
But
Russian's not our first language.
No, it's not, unfortunately. We don't have anyone on the team that's from Russia. But yeah, this is the Tier 7 premium. Comes with a premium camo, of course. Looks pretty nice. And it's going to be the last unlock in the War and Peace campaign that's just started now. So if we just take a look at the stats, I'll pass you over to Major.
So looking at the stats wise and then comparing her to other cruisers of her tier, she seems pretty average. I mean, she's very comparable to the French light cruisers. So health wise, you can see you've got a very small health pool. Artillery wise, so we're looking at 6-inch guns here. So you've got 12 of them. Reload time of 8 seconds. But unlike the British, you have got HE, and that set and fire chance does look pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that's a lot higher than the British. I think the British is about 9%, is it?
Yeah,
so
Belfast is the only one that does come with HE, and that is 9%.
Yeah, so 12's pretty good, especially with the quantity of guns you've got as well. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of setting fires with these. Not a lot of penetration though, I'd assume, with the lower caliber.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to. Might have quite a low muzzle velocity. The torpedo range of the premium is pretty average. It's on par with some of the others, I would say. Torpedo damage looks pretty reasonable. Maneuverability is something that we started to notice as a trend for most of them. Is that you're pretty reasonably fast, very quick rudder shift time, but a very large turning circle.
Yeah, so we were talking about, I mean, we'll get into this probably again in a minute, but the way that you're going to want to play these, we're assuming, would be to stay at a range and use your quick rudder shift to dodge incoming shells, but you're not going to be getting out the way of torpedoes very quickly with that large turning circle.
I think one of the hints at why we're thinking we might have to play them at range is just down to that concealment as well. That concealment's quite large.
Yeah, it's a lot higher than everything else.
And this includes the premium camo that it's already got on.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get that much lower with boosters. That's probably as it sits.
I think one of the benefits that we are going to be seeing with them is just this very easy to shoot guns with long range. But you have got that small gun caliber, I should say.
Yeah.
So that's the premium one. So that's on a 95-step campaign. So quickly jumping over to the tech tree, we start at the Novik. So this is your tier 1 ship that you're probably going to play for about 2 or 3 games and then never play again.
Yeah, it's a bit of a derpy ship. I think we might all go out on it in a division and give our thoughts in an upcoming video, maybe.
Yeah, it just looks like a river cruise boat. I mean, I know no one's really interested, but stats wise, looking over them, she seems very one for artillery. She seems very comparable to all the other tier 1s, and as you can see, yeah, long reach, yeah, sure, okay. But very ambitious, I think. Jumping over, we're going to start looking at the tier 2, which is, pardon my Russian, boggatry.
I think we're going to have to call it the bog from now on.
Yeah, going to take the bog out. Looking at it, she looks like a Halloween ship, you were saying.
Yeah, that was my first thought. Looks like the is it the Nassau, the Halloween camo with the fists on the front of it, especially with the little bit of gold plating. The Nauser, sorry, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
it looks very comical.
It's got like that Roman bow almost, like the ram bow.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it does kind of look like a more like a Viking boat almost, especially with those metal bars on the side of it. Kind of look like rowing, but
Yeah, get the order out. Oh,
yeah.
looking at her stat wise, again, I'm sure she's going to be a ship that you'll probably just take out for memes and derps. But maneuverability looks pretty bad, but she appears to have quite good concealment for her tier. But just
A variety of guns there, if you're
uh,
interested.
all the same gun, just a variety of mounting.
Ah,
Her turn
yeah,
circle seems quite reasonable.
yeah. That might be one of the only ships on this line with a reasonable turning circle.
Mm. And then, yeah, nothing super special. I don't think we'll be looking at her again. Um, I'll hand this one over to you, Eggy, to pronounce.
SVIETLANA.
Svietlana. Yeah, that'll do.
SVIETLANA? I don't know. We can call it the Lana.
Now, we were looking at it earlier, and we were saying it kind of the like overall shape and arrangement of her. She seems very much like the American ship, the Phoenix, the Tier 3. Looking at her stats wise, she's got average to poor scores overall. I mean, survivability is pretty low. Artillery wise, you got 15 times 1 mounts of 4-inch gun, I want to say.
130 is probably four. Yeah, I go with that.
And then torpedo range is 5 kilometers.
Yeah.
I mean, ironically,
Impressively, I was gonna say impressively, it actually goes down after this one.
I
But
know. I was going to say your tier 3 ship may have better torpedo range than your tier 7. Maneuverability still seems quite reasonable down at this tier in comparison to the others. And then
yep.
the concealment seems pretty reasonable as well. But looking at the overall things, I mean, we can add some more HP to it, increase the gun range, and
Just pretty average upgrades, same as you get on every other ship.
yeah,
They don't seem to do anything special.
it's going to make it a little bit better, bring you up almost. Now here we're on to the tier 4. So now this is where things start to get a bit spicy with the Kurov.
Kurov, yeah.
Overall,
This is probably where most people have skipped to this point in the video to actually look now from 4 onwards, I expect.
yeah. So welcome. Yeah, so she definitely seems a bit more interesting. She's got quite reasonable guns, I've noticed. She's got 180mm guns. Some of the largest guns that you're going to get in the Russian cruisers.
Yeah,
I want to say
that's 7.1 inches, which is obviously 1.1 inches higher than any of the guns in the higher tier on this line.
Yeah, the only cruiser that's going to have larger gun caliber than you is going to be the Fair Attacker. However, you've got more of these larger guns as well.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the other you're still a light cruiser, but you've got quite heavy gun caliber here actually. Health pool still looks pretty low but then quite a lot of the cruisers down this tier are quite low health wise. Torpedo range has dropped.
This is where it starts.
Maneuverability, now this is where the maneuverability kind of relationship starts to begin. The way that you've got this quite reasonable speed, but this really large turning circle and this reasonable rudder shift. So like your rudder's going to bite in quite nicely, you're going to be fast, so you're going to be slightly harder to hit, very almost like the French, but you have that massive turning circle, so you're not going to be a torpedo dodger.
Yeah, I mean, you think that mixed with the low torpedo range being the last resort, you're really going to want to stay away from most of the conflict and use torpedoes with 4-kilometer range as a absolute last resort, probably against destroyers that snuck up on you, I expect.
And then your concealment just seems to be pretty average overall.
Yeah.
And then mods wise, I mean, we can get another 2,800 health, some more damage out of our guns, and additional 1.2 kilometers range. So not massive changes. I guess the biggest one there you're going to be going for is the health. Now I think most of these are going to be coming with hydroacoustics, and as you can see, we're going to be coming with a spotter aircraft as well on this one. So
Nice.
moving on
Now,
to the
Budyonny?
Buddy.
Budyonny? We can just call it. We can call this one the Buddy.
Yeah, the buddy. So the
Yeah.
gun turrets look kind of American. And
Yeah.
then you can see you're coming with a spotter aircraft, you're going to be coming with hydroacoustics. Now there's still 6-inch guns overall, and this is going to be a continuing theme now from here upwards. Looking at the stats wise, compares like from here on up, you're comparing very well to the Germans and the French. So here you're almost like somewhere between the Legazion and the Nuremberg. So you've got like very similar HP, your gun calibers, all you're still on par. You you got reasonable chance of setting fire, but your torpedo range is a bit of a letdown.
Yeah. This is where they start going back down again from 4 kilometers. So, like we were saying, you're not really going to rely on those. With like with the Japanese cruisers, like you were saying a minute ago, you can use them to sort of tailor how your enemy's going to change their course, so you can then trick them into how you shoot them. But with these, you really aren't going to be able to plan much with them. You just kind of use them if you have to, more than anything.
Yeah, they seem to have quite reasonable damage output, very short detectability, and are very fast. They almost seem like they're ambush torpedoes at last minute resort, really. Your manoeuvrability, again, you're fast, large turning circle, reasonable rudder, and then your concealment's pretty average as well overall in comparison. Mod wise, I mean, we can add an extra 100 meters to our torpedo range and a bit more damage.
Useful.
The main one you're going to be interested in here is probably the additional 5,000 health though. That does come with more torpedoes.
I think with the upgraded hull and maybe with a William Sims inspiration, you could probably get reasonable HP out of this. Probably drag it up above the likes of the Nuremberg and the French cruisers.
Yeah, I can imagine maybe a health build or a damage mitigation build with these would be quite tempting. I mean, concealment's always a good thing, so maybe you do stick Mikoar on as an inspiration. However, I wouldn't be tempted to go down like a massive concealment build. It all depends on your gameplay style, really, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, me and Mambobs probably stick to our usual play of adding more HP or adding as much as you can with most ships. So that's probably what I'll be doing with this.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Moving on to the Tier 6, the SHCHORS. So this was teased as part of before the Russian update. It was the model ship on the middle of the table. Now she's coming at Tier 6, which would work out about right. No, I'm still trying to work out what that cruiser is on the picture of the ships back in the menu, and it's not the SHCHORS, unfortunately. But yeah, you're getting more guns now. So you're up to 12 6-inch guns, which is quite nice. The continuation of the same type of guns. Now again, here you're still comparing quite similar to the French and the Germans, which are almost like you're somewhere in between. So your HP pool's pretty low but reasonable. You're still better than the British at sometimes. Still got 12% chance of setting fire. Torpedo range is 4 kilometers, but your torpedo speed's 70 knots.
Yeah, it is very quick.
Like if you get close to a Russian cruiser, those torpedoes are going to be coming at you really rapid.
Yeah, and a lot of damage as well. For 15,000.
Yeah, that's going to really hurt. Almost like you don't want to be getting close to these, but they don't want to be getting close to you, so that's probably why they're there. Manoeuvrability, pretty fast, large turning circle, reasonable rudder, so same story again. Then concealment wise, we're looking at it's average, I'd say.
Yeah, it's higher than the British, being about 11 kilometers, but they're not unreasonable.
Yeah, you could bring it down, but I think with these you don't want to be playing in close, do you?
No.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we're going to be seeing coming through on most of these cruisers. Is this what they call the sure shot ability, which is basically these guns will have a very flat trajectory. So as like one of our subscribers already pointed out, these won't be good for hiding behind hills. They are more open water cruisers, and so you're going to be wanting to almost play at that touching distance range against battleships, making sure that you have that time to react to that incoming fire, and then using your very easy to aim guns to just keep raining in that damage every 8 seconds almost.
I think if you have anyone that you could division with that uses actually, then these would be quite good for staying out of the staying further away and allowing your teammate to spot, so that you can stay out in the open and not be a primary target, with the flat trajectory obviously being away from obstacles, but you can still mitigate quite a lot of damage probably.
Then looking at the mods, we can add about 4,300 health, some additional torpedo tubes, more damage from the guns, and increase your battery range. So you can see in here we're not even getting any torpedo upgrades at all.
No.
And then we're going on to the CHAPAYEV, although I suspect quite a lot of us are going to end up calling it the Chappy. Now, this is the Tier 7. She's going to come with radar, which is going to be very nice, but then she has lost that spotter plane. 12 6-inch guns, very similar to the SHCHORS. The survivability, now here we're back to comparing to the French almost. Like the Germans are now moved on, and we're now basically directly comparing ourselves to the French here. So you've got that quite low HP pool, not as low as the British, but not as much as some of the others. Artillery wise, same guns, rinse and repeat. Torpedoes, 3.7 kilometers. So this is the worst it's going to get.
Yeah, I mean they've gone up a bit of damage. They've gone up 1,600 damage, which is useful. But they've also then lost 10 knots on their speed. So.
Yeah, they have got slower. Maneuverability, your speed's come down now. Ironically, you're still fast. You're still like in comparison to the British, but that turn circle is still really large. Rudder shift is pretty reasonable. Detectability is pretty average in comparison to some of the heavier cruisers. And then, so apparently we're going to have superior AP damage with that.
Yeah,
oh,
I think it's going to be an interesting few weeks seeing how these pan out in our games. With the British cruisers obviously coming out as more light cruisers, and then these following suit being light cruisers as well. It's going to be changing how we play really, and how we see enemies, because you've obviously got to consider these now as being high chance of setting fires, and they're going to be at a long range, so you really don't want to get close to these, but you also want to be careful not to be set on fire by them at long range. So it's a new dynamic especially for the higher tiers, and I guess that's probably Wargaming's potential, I don't know, motive to see more cruisers at higher tiers.
Well, considering they've put a cap on the number of destroyers per team in Tier 6 and 7, limiting it only to 3 destroyers, I think it's going to put a lot more focus onto cruisers and cruiser versus cruiser combat. I can see people possibly like there being quite a reasonable number of cruisers per team, and I can see almost like the British cruisers almost becoming like the big destroyers of the team, whereas like these would be basically competing with the French for that kind of like light cruiser or lighter heavy cruiser, and then you got your heavy cruisers from your Americans and your Japanese as well coming in there. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Russian cruiser first look. We'll leave you with the Chappy.
The Chappy.
I'm the Gavin Major.
I'm Aggie Harris.
And back to the port.